So again, we are doing our live webinar. So that from Etter+Ramli, we call this Manage Success. Manage Success and how Etter+Ramli demystifies and give the true commandos of NetSuite to the entire NetSuite ecosystem of users. So before we get excited talking about NetSuite, just a simple house rule: just mute your microphone, and this webinar will be recorded for those who cannot attend this session. And yeah, so let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm sure you will enjoy the knowledge sharing today. This will be a very candid dialogue. So Prabhat and the others, if you have some experiences or good insights to say, you can say that at the end of the session. We will be very candid and open. All right. So just to let you know or acquaint you with Etter+Ramli, okay, and what we do. So we are the unbiased, unfiltered managed service provider to the NetSuite side of the NetSuite user community. So we have the right mix of skills, and we have specialized forces to help all our NetSuite clients across Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, North America, name it. We're truly global. So our solid team is composed of, certified analysts. You can see it on the slide. We are present in 36 countries. Our NetSuite users are 900 and growing, and we have proprietary tools on top of NetSuite that helps user increase their productivity. Yeah, and then if you add all the NetSuite experience, I came from the epicenter of NetSuite in the Philippines. I was the channel's lead director for implementation. I think, Prabhat, I was managing soft type as well before, right? And Todd has been the customer director of NetSuite customer success. And a lot of our brilliant consultants also came from Philippines.
Brilliant consultants, I agree.
Yes. So I think for the audience that we have today is, just so you know, I am part of the cornerstone of the NetSuite Philippines Global Support Office. I was leading the whole sales, resellers, partners, 2015 until 2018. And I got back to Oracle NetSuite when I missed them so much. I tried to go to other, software company, but NetSuite, I'm really married to NetSuite. So I was involved in closing and winning 200 plus new logos and new customers in the Philippines and other parts of Asia. And now I'm in the US, permanently residing. I'm still trailblazing and selling NetSuite, helping customers here to, transform their usage now that I'm in Etter+Ramli. So yeah, so I think my 7 to 8 years of promoting and marketing NetSuite made me a seasoned, not only seller, but I can give a lot of, commercial negotiations, some scoops inside the company, Oracle NetSuite. And yeah, I just add a lot of value, not only on selling, but also in making the business decision makers buy NetSuite with confidence now with Etter+Ramli. So let's go to the mains. Now with Todd Kimpton, I actually joined companies wherein the CEOs are NetSuite product gurus, because I clearly believe that the CEOs are the main sellers, well, aside from me, right? And the sales managers. If your CEO cannot sell and don't understand business process and NetSuite or any product, you just cannot soar. So Todd Kimpton, as you know, has been involved in more than hundreds and dozens of NetSuite users, those projects that have been abandoned. Okay, and those if those customers that are not happy with their existing partners. So Todd, with his credibility and skills from his NetSuite, years serving customers, is really of value to the NetSuite user side. 20 years in the business, what more can you ask for? His Etter+Ramli CEO, NetSuite super admin, or fondly called super ninja, project manager, leadership. His opinions are really very respected in the industry. So yeah, let me present Todd Kimpton to you guys.
Thank you. Very kind words.
Yeah. So I think we can start with topic today. So Etter+Ramli is known to have a proven methodology, method-led, we call managed success. So it's a service that we provide to all the existing NetSuite users around the world. And now our topic is all about resourcing, which is very critical when you turn over your accounting, financial operations, or whole operations to NetSuite. And I think, Prabhat, you can really relate to this because you are one of the golden implementers, project managers of the NetSuite community. So let's go to the next slide. What are the critical success factors in resourcing mix? And the slide is showing leadership. You've got to have that. The management opinion, and then the functional team is very different from the leadership. And of course, the technical expertise should be present, in all the project end to end. And it's all about data. So you've got to have a very good data manager, database expert. So Todd, walk us through the leadership factor first. Why is it a deal breaker if you don't have that management opinion?
Throughout this, NetSuite sits as a business-wide information system, and the way we need to communicate with the senior managers and the executives is very different to how we communicate with the frontline users, and how we plan and identify those different objectives is really important. And in this world, you definitely have some functional people who are functionally competent and can manage leadership. But on the whole, that skill set's a really different skill. How do you align your stakeholders? How do you establish a roadmap and prioritize areas for improvement? How do you identify them? And then how do you put structure into the improvement process to help release value in a way that minimizes the amount of change impact? So that's the whole idea behind making sure that the success team has got a level of leadership in it that helps to push things forward, and that needs to have competence within NetSuite at a high level, and the more detail the better, and line it up with business leaders who also take responsibility for the application inside the business.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I always hear when you're kicking off a project, you've got to have executive sponsors. So I think that also works that way, right?
You can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
And they all need to be managed, and those executive input needs to be planned against how the client wants to extract value or earn their dividend, as we say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, which actually takes us to the next part, which is the difference of having a leader, and compared to a functional resource.
Yeah, I mean, it's just chalk and cheese, because the whole purpose of the functional delivery is all about supporting users, helping users, understanding the detail of the business process, engaging throughout that, helping to transfer that business knowledge into other stakeholders like the technical team, which we'll talk about next. How do we, all of these skills, they're all very soft skills that are deeply rooted in the functionality of the system. But there's a high relationship between the people integration and that skills, and that's where the functional layer sits. It's all about trying to make sure that users have got the best possible set of skills and knowledge for them to be able to succeed.
Agree, Todd. Yeah, this is the type of resources where I always see still eating with the users, the managers, the warehouse, my finance. So yeah, it's probably so fun for them having all this, what do you call that, like rigorous daily, hourly discussions with the users. So that's very good, Todd. So now let's go to the technical. I always hear that, if you don't have any technical resource in the project, then some clients are turned off. So tell us more about the technical and maintenance.
Yeah, fair enough. So the technical comes down to this basic concept that NetSuite as a system allows you to do a lot of customization, supports all manner of personalization and development inside of the account, whether that's automating a process, clarifying data, integrating with other systems. It fully supports it. And so most clients that I've worked on, not most, all clients that I've worked on reach a point where they need to do something with a script. And the guidance has always been don't use scripts. But in reality, NetSuite as a product has got a good feature set, but that feature set is supposed to fit every business, and it just doesn't. And so having a technical infrastructure that allows you to modify and personalize the business process to the customer, to the customer's business, just gives you that extra dimension. But programming a piece of code to process data in a particular way is a very, very, very different skill to managing executive stakeholders, and that's very different to managing users and their day-to-day tasks. And so this extra level of skill around technical has got a real break with the other areas. Okay, and so it needs development resources. Yeah. And as soon as you've got a developer, you have to have a business analyst. And that business analyst is probably also the functional consultant, but maybe it's not, right? Otherwise, things go haywire really quickly.
And you've got all these red hot resources in Etter+Ramli, correct?
Well, they're all hand-picked, Rhea. So, yep, I reckon they're all excellent. But they have to pass. They have to pass my onboarding process, and I'm very sure. And I'm pretty rigorous, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very, very lucky that I passed with Kim's level, right? So, okay, so yeah, everything that you've talked about is really like essential, and it's very, very, what they call that, helpful, especially to those clients that we have and partners that we have who are still starting in their cloud ERP journey or with NetSuite. And it all revolves around data, accuracy, precision.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah, good segue for your database management expertise, Todd.
You know, I mean, at an application level, NetSuite assumes that the database is taken care of. And we're not doing database admin in the traditional sort of DBA world. What we're doing is really data architecture and data monitoring and data compliance. And this is, again, it's a really particular skill, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make sure the business has got high quality, reliable information to make decisions on. And the assumption is that everything works properly if users do what they're supposed to do. And it's a pretty good assumption, but every assumption has got that classic statement about it makes an ass out of you and an ass out of me as well. So we don't like to assume on these things. And database management allows us, or data management allows us, to make sure that we are accurate. Because the objective here is to make sure that when data is put into the system and transactions are processed, the quality on that is really high. And that comes down to really two major points. The first one is about process compliance, making sure the process works the way it's supposed to work. And that can come with things like, you know, every invoice is created from a sales order. That might be a gate, a process gate. And it could be also a time gate, that sales orders are created a period of time before an invoice is. And the point being is that what you want to make sure of at a data level is that transactions are flowing through the system in a predictable and reliable way, that you're able to measure the usage properly. And as soon as those start to break down, it illustrates that users are not using the process. They're using data for the sake of data, and that's wrong. And so to manage it properly and to really identify these things, you've got to make sure that your process gates and your time gates on that process are both compliant. And then the last piece is to make sure that everything lines up properly for your financial reporting, particularly around things like classifications. And maybe there's a procedure that needs to be done to make sure that different data is coded properly. I've got a classic example of that. Back when I was a customer of NetSuite back in the early 2000s, there's a particular preference that allows you to have free-form states or drop-down states on your customer record. And I was naive. I self-implemented, and I decided to have free-form text. And it was fine. I never looked at this particular report. I never looked at my sales by state because we ran it all nationally. And the people who ended up buying the business, the first report that they asked for was a sales report by state. And it turns out I had 45 states in Australia, when in reality, there's nowhere near that many. And they're all different variations because of this one thing that I didn't do 5 years before, which was set that preference properly. And so my data compliance lesson learned goes back a long way. And I've been really drumming it in ever since, because it's the reliability of the data that really creates the quality of the output. Now, it took me a while. I recast it, I fixed it up in Excel, and I got it done. But it illustrates the problem, which is that if you're not managing your data properly, when you need it, it won't be reliable. Right? So I think
that's what you call experience is the best teacher.
Yep. That was definitely one of those cases. Definitely.
Yeah, so yeah, Todd, this is actually helpful, and especially very helpful to, again, those that are not seasoned enough, mature enough yet, and implementing or deploying or growing their NetSuite system. So I think that ends the critical success factor and the resourcing mix for under our managed success at Etter+Ramli. So I'll probably to have a exciting conversation. Do you have any use case, or you've already cited up?
Well,
you already explained it.
Well, I spoke about that one use case, which was about data management. But within this area, where there's tons of really good examples, because where examples of the business that needs a simple script to do something, and they go and find a freelancer who can write the script with zero understanding on how the whole system is configured for the customer, and no business analyst in there, and they write the script and it works for a period of time, or it doesn't work, and they manage that outcome, but then it breaks. A system upgrade, it breaks. It's never monitored. It's never controlled. And now the freelance is out of action doing something different, right? Happens all the time. Or on the other side, everyone sort of you get this concept of a functional technical skill set. And it's a skill set which I don't get, because they're two fundamentally different things. And to bridge them into one means that something is being given up. Either they're a better programmer that's trying to do functional things, or they're a better functional that wants to do things as a programmer. But either way, it's like saying that that they're equally interchangeable, and they are not. They are not equally interchangeable. And then again, the functional who wants to elevate to the boardroom, for example, but it is still tied too heavily in the detail and not tied enough to the objectives of the business. And so throughout this process, you get this imbalance of skills across it. And so we talk about this concept of the success team, because the success team is engaging as a team. And as a team, it doesn't mean we get to forsake the skill sets. It means we engage with best of breed in each one of them as a team. So at the table, we have terrific developer. At the table, we have terrific BA analyst, functional analyst. At the table, we've got a leader who's able to communicate system functionality with business objectives. At the table, we've got someone who's able to interpret and understand data so that they're able to create the interpretations and reports that are necessary. Trying to put all that one together, it's been done. Candidly, it's better as a team. More
And it's a
redundancy.
luxury. Yeah, it's a luxury of having that. Imagine if you're in the boardroom and you have all that best of breed talents, you can never go wrong, right?
Well, the one thing that it brings in, and this is a really important part of it, is that it allows for us to have redundancy, redundancy in skills. And it means that we have to have knowledge transfer between the team. And what that does is actually de-risk the whole process enormously, because it means that nobody in themselves is the custodian of architecture, of client relationship, of all this stuff. Everybody is just playing a role within the team, and that team has got really good process and good standard, so that that knowledge can transfer effectively, so that the business minimizes their long-term risk and exposure, and that's good for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, I love it. It's like you have quarterbacks around you, like I got your back with this managed success program.
Well,
So,
it's good that you say it, Ria, because that's exactly what it is. And
mhm.
for a business to have um, all of those skills as dedicated resources, they need to be big. And what they really probably need is a little bit of each. And that's more or less speaks to our product offering. Our approach, our managed success approach speaks to it as we are all just doing some. It's a bit of our time that clients are enjoying, but it also elevates the quality as well, because we are working across many customers dedicated. We are doing things. We are seeing how different things happen, and that
Yeah.
is improving our total knowledge, and therefore
Mhm.
introducing the client to total best of breed.
To the next level conversations.